The rain ain't stopping nothing, not even the fans. Cody and I talk about this weekend's training camp practices. We get to the tight end group, why you guys should be very confident in that unit. And, oh, by the way, right tackle Tytus Howard is getting back into the groove of things.
You are Locked On Texans, your daily podcast on the Houston Texans. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Locked On Texans listeners and viewers, Texans fans across the nation, to this Monday episode of the Locked On Texans podcast, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you to all of our first-time listeners stopping by, checking out the show. We are inside of Texans Training Camp. That's why y'all are here. Please do us 3 favors. Very simple, very easy. You can do it from your phone. Subscribe, like, and comment to the Locked On Texans podcast on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcast. But we can't not recognize our everydayers from the Himalaya players coming back to listen to Cody and myself continue to talk Texans here on the Locked On Texans podcast. I'm your Texans football analyst, John Summer Sports Guy Hickman. On the other side of the screen, Texans credential media member, Sports Illustrated's own Cody Davis. Before we get into Texans, the fans. Rain, if it was sleet, if it was snow, it didn't matter. Whether it was 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Shout out to Ruben, man. Y'all showed up and showed out over the weekend at Texans Training Camp. And I just want to give you guys a shout out, whether you're new to the show or you've been around for a while. I also want to give a shout out to my man. I had the opportunity, to meet him, XX Infamous X32 from YouTube. Called him out there at training camp. Shout out to you guys, but we are here to talk about Texans Training Camp. Cody, take us away.
And on this Monday installment of Locked On Texans, look, I know we're going to talk a lot about what happened this past weekend, but this weekend is going to be a very big moment for the franchise. So we're going to do a quick preview talking about the Hall of Fame, talking about the Hall of Fame game, and also looking at areas and what position can possibly get better as the Houston Texans enter their 3rd week of training camp. But John, over the weekend, man, there was a lot that we had an opportunity to take from the Houston Texans. And once again, I truly do believe 2024 is going to be an extremely good year for this organization. And look, we spent the last couple of days talking about the defense, but I do want us to highlight some positions and some players on the offensive side of the ball. We're going to touch on Brevin Jordan a little bit later, but we're going to open up this Monday installment of Locked On Texans looking at Tytus Howard because he is back at 100%. And look, ladies and gentlemen, ever since the Houston Texans opened up training camp on July 18th, I've been amazed by Tytus Howard. Yes, there has been moments where you look at him and think to yourself, okay, he might have let that pass rush through, but at the same time, you're looking at a guy who is still trying to get himself back to football shape, and later on, he's going to have an opportunity to get himself in game shape. But what I would say, I have been thoroughly impressed for the most part about how well this offensive line looked, and once again, Tytus Howard has showcased why he is very important for this offensive line. And look, last year was an injury-plagued season for him. This time last year, we was kind of hurt because he went down with that broken hand injury during training camp. And then, of course, he came back in about, 6 to 7 games into the 2023 season. He went down with a knee injury. Here is what Tytus Howard had to say about how he went through his whole entire rehab process.
For me, I rehab from November all the way up to training camp. I was in rehab. So the biggest thing for me, different areas, just staying on top of all the little things for my body, all the recovery, trying to eat the best I can eat, getting enough sleep, all the little things that's going to help me because, I got the talent, football comes easy to me. It comes easy to all of us because we've been doing this our whole life. But, it's the little things that you got to take care of off the field that help you on the field because my biggest problem is that I haven't been able to stay on the field. So I haven't played a full season yet. This is my year I think I'm going to play a full season, knock on wood. But I'm doing everything I can do to stay healthy and perform the best I can perform. And I'm feeling good, and I'm going to play great.
I love that acknowledgement from Tytus Howard. I ain't played the full season, y'all. I want to. It ain't me. It's my body.
Look, I was surprised. I thought he played the full season in 2019.
Well, it was that the year. I think he may have missed 3 games that year.
Maybe.
I could be wrong. But I love the acknowledgement. To highlight Tytus Howard, and I know really, Cody, we can look at the Friday's practice. Saturday, he also had a good practice as well. But Friday, guys, I mean, he was going up against Will Anderson Jr. at practice whenever they ran the team ones. And I don't think he lost the rep. I really don't, whether it was run blocking or pass blocking. I don't think he lost a rep. I think that Will Anderson, who's, of course, eager and always uber competitive, I think he was maybe trying some things out on some of those reps, but he didn't win a rep against Tytus Howard. And again, as we opened up, right tackle Tytus Howard, ain't no experimenting going on, experimenting with him. I love where Tytus is at right now, guys. He's in a place, just got his contract last year, but he's in a place where he's in that upper echelon class of veterans on his team. 2019, he was brought into the Houston Texans, and by the way, we should be thanking God that the Eagles jumped Houston for Andre Dillard, and they landed Tytus Howard, who has been by far the better player. But you look at that offensive line room right now. Laramie on one side, he's been in the league for a very long time. He's a vet. Shaq Mason, Super Bowl champion. He's a vet. Tytus Howard, I think, is in that vet echelon now for this team who, has Kenyon Green going into his 3rd year. And Cody, we've talked on and off, and I know you've mentioned that this is really like his sophomore year for Green, who missed all of his sophomore year. Juice Scruggs sophomore year. Jerry Patterson sophomore year. Got a lot of young offensive linemen. Kendrick Green, journeyman, right? Never been able to really establish himself on the team. So for Tytus, the acknowledgement I think is great, but it ain't just the acknowledgement. It's also what we're seeing with our 8 eyes, and I keep making that joke because we do have 4 eyes apiece. Danielle Hunter, one of the NFL's best pass rushers in the NFL, highlighted Tytus Howard last week at training camp. Mentioned that he has quick feet, good hands, and those guys are going up against each other every day at practice, along with Will Anderson Jr., who all they want to do is get after the quarterback or get into the backfield. And Howard isn't having it. I love where Howard is right now mentally, physically. I think he's in great shape when you just watch him out at practice. He's moving so much more fluid than he was last year. Now, of course, he came into the season by the time he played, as Cody mentioned, hurt already, ended the season hurt. But he's moving more fluid now. His feet, like Danielle Hunter mentioned, is super quick. His hand placement is good. Everything about Tytus is confident. That entire offensive line, if I could be, honest, it's just screaming, oozing confidence. And Laremy Tunsil hasn't been out there, so he's the vet tackle. Blake Fisher on the other side, who's been getting taken to the woodshed, he's a rookie. Charlie Heck, Charlie Heck, has been in Houston his entire career, but he's a swing tackle who both Cody and myself don't believe will make this roster. It's been Tytus Howard that has been the tackle for Houston. And in a lot of ways, you can say the offensive lineman for Houston. He's been the one that has stood out, correct me if I'm wrong, majority of the times at training camp, while going up against Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, and a defense that's been wrecking camp, to be real. So I love what Tytus is at. I keep repeating it because I really do. I love where he's at, and I think you guys are going to get an opportunity. I don't think he's going to play in a Hall of Fame game. If so, maybe a series.
He should. I mentioned, he still needs to work himself in game shape, and I would much rather him do that as many preseason games as possible.
Yeah, and then the Hall of Fame game is a game that we're not taking it that serious. I just need to get out there and get some win underneath me. But you guys are going to love where he's at, and I think for him overall, Houston did him a disservice last year, though they had to. George Fant worked out. But this year, it ain't none of those games we playing. You're going back to your natural position because we got some expectations we need to meet. And Tytus will be a huge factor of allowing that team to get there.
We talk about Tytus Howard, but I do want to stay on the offensive side of the ball because we got to look at this tight end unit. And my guy, Brevin Jordan, by the way. Don't go nowhere. More Locked On Texans.
Swiss Army knife talk coming up. The sports are almost back. We're almost about to get some college football. NFL is around the corner. Thursday, actually. You got the Olympics going on right now. KD, whew, that's too much to handle.
By the way, look, it is still locally because there's rumors that the Rockets are eyeing him. KD might be the definition of just somebody that's just too good at basketball. Plain and simple.
Too hot to handle. We're getting sports back. It's slowly happening. MLB is going on right now. The Astros are popping. They getting back to form. So with all of that being said, as we wrap up the summertime and we get into fall sports, guys, don't forget about FanDuel. They allow you to keep the sports going whenever you want. All you have to do is open the app and dream up big bets anytime you're in the mood. This summer, FanDuel has been hooking up all customers with a booster bonus daily. That's right, a boost or a bonus daily. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. So head on over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of the NFL.
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, to this Monday installment of Locked On Texans. I think it's safe to say by now, you guys know when there are certain players that I love talking about the most because I was trying to tell y'all, a couple years, ago, and, some people wanted to give up on certain players. And I'm like, no, just keep them around because you never know. Then they ended up working out. I hope I'll be right this year about John Mechie, but last year I was right about one guy only. Brevin Jordan, a guy who, look, the first 2 years of his career with this franchise was up and down, more downs than ups. And I'm not going to lie, even though I always believed in Brevin Jordan, in my opinion, I believe he was the second, if not the third best tight end coming into the league during the 2021 NFL draft. And I always believed that he had an opportunity and the potential to establish himself as a foundational piece. There was moments where even I started scratching my head. It's like, man, it might not work out for him here in the city of Houston. However, last year, career year, stepped up for this organization on several occasions. Of course, we always go back to one of the biggest play of last season when he caught that 75-yard touchdown bomb from C.J. Stroud that played a vital role in them demolishing the Cleveland Browns. But John, I love how the Houston Texans now know what they got in Brevin Jordan, and they are diving more into his potential. And I think 2024 could even be a better year for that young man.
They got you motioning and shifting, doing a lot on the offensive side of the ball. Are you looking forward to that this season to kind of pick up the offense and use your athletic ability to exploit opposing defenses?
Hell yeah. But I'm excited, man. Just being able to be used all over the field, kind of be a Swiss Army knife, bro. It's a great opportunity. I'm looking forward to just, stacking every day, building brick by brick, and just, going out there trying to win some games this year.
Also, what has it been like going up against Will Anderson Jr. and the Neil Hunter practice? Because you've been doing a very good job blocking those guys.
Yeah, it's terrible. They're big dudes, like the paws, but them some large human beings. So blocking them dudes it's not fun. It's not the greatest, but bro, it's awesome to be out here competing with those guys, man. They're gonna make the games, a lot easier. So I'm grateful to be blocking them dudes every day.
Let me just say, I love the culture. I appreciate the pause. But with Brevin Jordan, just from what we've been seeing, Cody, and it was initially we looked at each other 2 Fridays ago at training camp practice. It was like, is it just me? But we're seeing Brevin out there with the ones a little bit. It's like, yeah, but also are you noticing how much Brevin is being shifted, motioning? Is he lined up wide? Is he lined up tight? Is he lined up in the backfield? So we started to know that 2 Fridays ago. Then next Friday, this past Friday, we're noticing it some more. And we're noticing him getting more opportunities running out there with C.J. Stroud. When I look at Brevin Jordan in all the ways through training camp and going back to last year, all the ways this offense, being called by Bobby Slowick, I'm looking at a unit. I do want to highlight the unit first. And no, I'm not saying between Brevin Jordan and Cade Stover, those guys are going to get 130 plus targets. I'm not saying that. But I'm looking at a unit that kind of reminds me of the 2019 Baltimore Ravens tight end group with Mark Andrews, Nick Boyle, and Hayden Hurst. You got 3 tight ends in this group that I think are very impactful in different ways. And with Brevin, again, as he mentioned, he's a Swiss Army knife at that tight end position. He can line up anywhere for Houston, and I also like that Houston will find ways to use him to exploit matchups where there may be something that's, a play dedicated for Brevin, or looking to find out, is he going to get a man a linebacker matchup, and will a safety come down the matchup with him? If so, do you want to kind of go over the top with Nico Tank? Like, there's so many different ways this playbook can be opened up. Of course, I talk about the run game, but with Brevin Jordan and his ability to kind of do multiple things on the football field. And what I love the most from what I'm seeing from Brevin Jordan, and you started to see it late last year, you're seeing it, guys. I'm seeing it at practice and training camp, how much of an improved blocker he is. One of those plays at practice, man, and I mean this. We just talked about Tytus Howard not losing the rep against Will Anderson, but one of those plays, I want to say it was an outside zone run. I believe it was an outside zone run. Damian Pierce was in the backfield, I believe, and I'm seeing Brevin Jordan seal off Will Anderson Jr. On a block, on the edge, just and moving him. I'm also seeing on the opposite side a couple of plays later. I want to say this was an inside zone run to the B gap, and I'm seeing Brevin and Tytus combo block on Danielle Hunter, and I'm seeing Brevin get up under him, getting low, getting good pad leverage, and winning that rep, helping win that rep. He was combo blocking. But things like that, you're looking and you're seeing the player, guys, that he's not going to get off that field unless it's for Dalton Schultz. Like, there's no other tight end that you could compete and say, well, we got to find a way to get him on the field. Yes, Cade Stover is there, and I do think Cade will get some opportunities. But the hierarchy at that tight end position coming into this camp, we were talking about Tegan Quitoriano, where is he going to rank in this group? And it's nowhere. And I think a lot of that is due to because of the ascension of Brevin Jordan as a football player in that tight end group, man. And I love everything I'm seeing with him. He's having fun out there again. He's a great personality. But Brevin can really do some things for this offense because I believe that with Dalton Schultz, I've said it before, I'll say it again, he's a tight end that can hurt teams in the seams of a defense. Cade Stover, if it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 5, and you need 6 yards, you need 4 yards, a quick stick route, Cade Stover with that big body, he can do that. He's also a young man who's learning how to play that position. And another thing I want to add to highlight Brevin Jordan, he talked about how last year he leaned on Dalton Schultz a lot, and this year, because I asked him how is he kind of paying it forward, this year he notices that Dalton Schultz is kind of like, man, you got it. Go out there and do your thing. You don't have to lean on me no more. And in return, Brevin mentioned how he's giving that same game back to Cade Stover. So now you got that relationship. Then you got the relationship between Brevin and Dalton Schultz. That unit is tight, close-knit, but you got guys that can do multiple things. And I see Brevin just hurting teams line up in the fullback, roll out, bootleg, lining up in the slot, getting that matchup with a linebacker. He did run a 4-5, maybe getting a matchup with a safety. Not too many safeties can probably hold him, depending on the play call. He's getting it done in so many different ways. And that just gives you an inside look at it's not just Stephon. It's not just Nico, who I think is this team's number 1 receiver still. It's not just Tank. It's not just Mechie. It's not just Joe Mixon. You have to worry about that tight end group. The notion that this team may have issues at that position once Dalton Schultz is not included in the names that you're going to name, it's completely ridiculous because Brevin Jordan is going to carry his own weight.
We talk about Brevin Jordan and how good this tight end unit look. However, the Houston Texans will play their first preseason game on Thursday. Let's see if Coach DeMeco Ryan has an idea of which position group he would like to see a little bit more of on the opposite side of the break.
Cody, over the weekend, where did you go?
Oh, I saw the Queen, Janet Jackson, and it was by far my favorite concert of all time that I went through. But I must say, there was a moment that I said, man, I wish this was your brother. I shed a thug tear. I can't lie.
Cody went to go see Janet Jackson. And guys, you want to know where he got his tickets from? Game Time. You need to
I did for real, like real talk.
Yeah, you need to go. We ain't lying. Ain't no cap in our rap. You need to download the Game Time app right now. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace for not only sports. You can get Major League Baseball. You can go check out the Astros. You can get ready for the Texans season. You can even get ready and prepare yourself for the Rocket season when that comes out. But you can also check out concerts, theater events. If they got tickets, you can check it out on the Game Time app. Let's just say, you bought some tickets, but you can't make it. Game Time has the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. They also will credit you 110% of the difference if you find a ticket to an event in the same section and row for less. Nobody's doing it like Game Time, so you don't need to look nowhere else but Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use Locked On NFL. Use code Locked On NFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account after you download the Game Time app. Create account, redeem code LOCKON NFL, Locked On NFL for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, to this Monday installment of Locked On Texans. This is a big week for this organization. For the very first time since 2002, the Houston Texans will play their first preseason game in the Hall of Fame game. And this time, they actually have a Hall of Famer being inducted. And, of course, that is Andre Johnson. So, for the rest of this week, John and myself, I think we should, just give some of our favorite Andre Johnson moments as we continue to cover this organization leading up to the Hall of Fame game, and of course the Hall of Fame ceremony. I don't know about you guys, but I am thoroughly more excited about the Hall of Fame itself because you guys know who's been rocking with the show ever since John and myself took over in 2019. We always talked about how, I know it's a long time, we always talked about how Andre Johnson should have always been in the Hall of Fame, and now we finally going to have an opportunity to get that this Saturday. So we're definitely going to make sure that we shout out Andre Johnson throughout the rest of this week. However, first preseason game, 2 weeks after training camp. John, I had an opportunity to ask Coach DeMeco Ryan, as of right now, are there any position groups or any intangibles that concerning you about this team that you want to clean up? And this is what he had to say.
No one particular group for me that I want to see anything from, because we're always dialed into, we have a daily plan every time we step on the field. Like each position group has, a couple of daily tasks of things they're working on and getting better at. So I just love how we are progressing as a team. Each group has their own issues to work through, but everybody is continuing to ascend, and that's really good for us, right, in the second week of camp.
I really don't think there's one position group that I want to see more of in terms of this first Hall of Fame game. For me, John, I just want to see the Houston Texans just clean up their discipline. There's been so many times where, especially Friday's practice, that was the most I've ever seen penalties being called during practice. And you can tell that it also got on Coach DeMeco Ryan's nerve as well. But, if there's just one area of this team that I want to see clean up before Thursday's preseason game, it has to be discipline.
Yeah, I would say for the remainder of the week and going into the preseason game, and this is one thing DeMeco Ryan said, I had an opportunity to ask him about, with Joe Mixon being out. We know that Houston signed Cam Akers, but just him seeing the rookies, Brevin Jordan and British Brooks, and he mentioned that, he loves what he's seeing. I think we're going to get a good dose of those two young men this Thursday. Great position battle between Brevin Jordan, Brooks, excuse me. There was multiple times while I was jotting down British Brooks' names. Like, man, he made another big, nice run. Another nice game. And JJ Taylor's in that mix as well, I think, for, in that group. Darray, excuse me, Ogunbowale. Shout out to Enrique, man. God, dog, she be balling. I just had to, one more time because she cold. But I am looking forward to that running back position. And I think I'm more so looking forward to it because Mixon hasn't practiced with pads on so far. Dameon Pierce has done a very good job as the lead back for Houston. But you got to see what those youngins got, right? Do they got enough to make the initial roster? If not both, one of those guys will be practice squad players. So I'm anticipating how they will, show up Thursday. I think we're going to get a good dose of those two young running backs this Thursday. Also, I do want to highlight Noah Brown is going to make this team, y'all. I think he's going to make this team.
I don't know, man.
It's
going to be him or Robert Woods, man. Because at the start of training camp, Robert Woods was doing it. Mandatory minicamp, Robert Woods doing it. Now, granted, Noah Brown was hurt during mandatory minicamp.
He's been balling at practice.
But can he stay healthy?
That's a good point. We got more Texans training camp, inside Texans training camp tomorrow. And after that, and after that, and after that, and after that. We're coming back 5 shows a week. We can't do it without you guys. So shout out to y'all stopping by, sticking around, listening and watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment to the Locked On Texans podcast on YouTube. Wherever you listen to your podcast, follow me on Twitter at John_Hickman12.
And as always, I'm your host, Cody M. Davis. Please remember to follow me on Twitter at CodyDavis_24. Once again, it's Cody, COTYDAVIS_24. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, peace.